If I ask you to find the square root of each of those numbers, I don't think you should need your calculator to do this. Because as I'm looking here, each one of these is a what? A perfect square. So this is where your list of perfect squares are going to come in super handy. So what if I ask you what's the square root of 36? In other words, what number can you multiply by itself to get the number 36? You're going to tell me what? 6. Because 6 times 6 is 36. Now, we just talked about negative numbers. And I said you can't have a negative number where? Inside the square root. Is this negative number inside the square root? No. It's outside the square root. So this is really like saying the opposite of the square root of 16. Well, what's the square root of 16? 4. And what's the opposite of 4? Negative 4. So when the negative is on the outside of the square root, it's okay for us to keep that negative and then take the square root of 16 and find out what that is. So my answer would be negative 4. So it's really like saying negative 1 times the square root of 16. Does that make sense? Yes or maybe? Yes. Okay. Number C. Letter C, I guess. Okay. There are 3 main rules to working with square roots. One of them is that you can't have a perfect square underneath the square root. You've got to simplify. Another one of them is that there can't be a fraction or a decimal under the square root symbol. So how do we deal with that? Okay? So here's a fraction that's under, and we're going to talk way more about these rules in depth later on. Okay? But here's how I work with a fraction that's under the square root symbol. All right? I'm going to take that fraction and I'm going to break it up into a numerator. And then I'm going to break it up into a denominator. So the square root of 9 over the square root of 10. 100, thank you. Okay. And what is the square root of 9? 3. What is the square root of 100? 10. So guess what that answer is? 3/10. Easy enough? Okay. Easy enough. Number D. Letter D, I guess it is. What's the square root of about 0? 0. Are you sure? Yep. Double check. Use your calculator on this one.
0 equals 0.
0 times 0 does equal 0, but anything raised to the 0 power is 1. So do you think that that applies?
No.
No? Are you sure?
That doesn't apply to 0.
It doesn't apply to 0. 0 raised to the first power is 1. I mean, 0 raised to the first power would be 0. But 0 raised to the 0 power is going to be what?
It just says 0.
It's 0.
It says error 0 times 0.
All right, well, I'll tell you what. Do you have your calculator?
It's 0.
It says it's an error.
We promise.
All right, well, hey, you got to be able to, I know the answer. Let's not think that I don't. Okay, so let's take our square root symbol. To get the square root on this calculator, alrighty then. To get the 0, or to get the square root symbol on this calculator, hit second and x squared. That'll make just the square root symbol pop up. Second and x squared. And then you're going to hit 0. And then move your arrow out of there and hit enter, and it tells you what? 0. And you know how else we knew that? It also said it on here, that the square root of 0 is equal to 0. Okay, you wrote that part down? Well, that's good, you were supposed to. Alright, so 0 it is. I thought maybe I could talk you out of it and see if I could trick you, but no such luck. Alright, what about the square root of 0.64? Ooh, not supposed to have decimals underneath there either, by the way. 0.8. Because the square root of 0.64, 64 is a perfect square, square root of 8, right? So 0.64 gives us, what'd you say? So 0.8. 0.8. 0.8.
Because a fraction times a fraction is actually going to get smaller, not larger.
Okay? Everybody okay with that? Yes or maybe? So on your white one, yes.
Is it still square then?
No. Good catch. I'm off my game today. Glad y'all are here to help me. Okay. You good with this? I think y'all are better at it than I am right now. I'm a little off my game, but that's okay.